was to see if there was a tag on its collar, a number to call. He got out of the car. The dog watched him, waiting for the human being to define the situation. "Good boy," Patrick said, although he had no evidence that the dog was either of these things. It emitted a brief whine, more of a radar ping than a call for help. It was taking the measure of this creature who'd brought the pain. Its tail quivered in an unfriendly way. Patrick held out his right hand as a gesture of peace, palm down, fingers dangling, like royalty expecting a kiss. This was more or less the extent of his knowledge of canine communication. He'd never had a dog. The wounded animal rose shakily, holding its back right paw a few inches off the grass. Standing was a good sign. No spinal damage, presumably no vital organs ruptured. It could limp back home to be cared for by the idiot who let it run free in the middle of the night. Patrick turned back to his car but froze when the dog growled. Low and ominous, like a waste disposal ready for debris. He turned to face it. Previously flat fur on the back of its neck had risen into a staticky bristle. It took a menacing step forward. That injured leg seemed to be getting better by the second. Okay, Patrick thought, time to call it a night. He showed the dog his hand again, this time offering his flat palm. A cop stopping traffic. There was no need for drama. Whoever's name was on that collar could take it from here. Get themselves a 6-foot leash and obey the damned law. He took a step backward. The dog took a mirroring step forward. Patrick wondered if his hand gestures meant something different to the dog than what he'd intended. He cast a quick glance over his shoulder. He'd left the car door open. That was good. Safety was just 5 quick strides away. He was pretty sure he could make it there before a 3-legged dog. But then the animal turned its head, its attention drawn to something in a thick copse of trees that separated the residential behemoth directly in front of Patrick from the even larger house next door. Patrick followed its gaze. At first, all he could see was varying degrees of nothingness. The trees were dense, knotted together by a network of vines. But then something defined itself. A man-sized delineation of the darkness. A human being, tall, broad-shouldered, watching from 100 feet away. What the fuck? "Is this your dog?" Patrick called out. There was no response. "Hello?" Nothing. This made no sense. Why would the dog's owner be hiding in the trees? The town's leash law penalties weren't that harsh. Unless it wasn't the dog's owner. But vagabonds and lurkers weren't exactly common in Emerson. As far as he knew, the town's homeless population consisted of a small, ever-shifting squad of men cooling their heels at the Hilton after getting booted by aggrieved wives. He should know, having been one of them last year. He looked back at the dog just as it made up its mind about whomever it had seen in the shadows, and turned back to Patrick. At which point it made up its mind about him as well, and not in a positive way. Its growl deepened. It took another ominous step forward, the kind of murderous stealth on display in cable shows about the Serengeti. That injured leg appeared to have undergone a full recovery. Time to go. With haste. Resurrecting a move from his wide receiver days, Patrick emphatically stamped his right foot forward, then pivoted and headed in the opposite direction. All he needed to be home free was 5 strides, a nifty spin into the car, and a slammed door. And he almost made it. His front foot was already in when there was a sharp explosion of pain on his trailing hamstring. The dog had bitten him.